restart.
Anywho, yeah, just so it didn't run out. What was I saying? Right. So I'm praying to God. I'm like, I need to know. I need you to tell me what it is, so that I can have confidence in whatever it is, whatever your decision is. So I was praying about it, and I was reading in my Bible. I was reading in Psalms. I'm thinking about it. I'm reading Psalms, and I just so happened to be in Psalm. I think it's 106. I could be wrong. Listen, I don't know. I think it was 106, and there's a verse in it that says, "The water covered their enemies, and there was none left." I said, "That works," and I had a peace about it. I'm like, okay, then this is it. You know, there's two demons left. The water covers their enemies. There's none left. I'm free. You know, and you can call me Morgan the way I be a free man. You know, we out here. I'm ready to go. This is 26 years of hell in my mind that I feel half the struggle is not feeling like you're valid, right? Because all this war, there's just Vietnam, World War II times 90 in your head all day, every day, but nobody ever sees it. And you just, what's the matter with you? Just, yeah, everybody has a rough day. Go to work. Like, bro, I know everybody has a rough day, but not everybody is going through work having voices screaming in their head and seeing guns in their mouth going off all day long. Yeah. You know, and then, you know, it's, you know, so I'm like, this is it. So it's September 13th right now. So September 11th, 2 days ago. I woke up, I'm like, this is it. This is it. I'm thinking about, you know, because Leviathan's a snake, right? So I'm just planning it out in my head, you know, for the rest of my life. If anybody asks me, hey, Jonathan, do you have any pets? I get to say, I used to have a pet snake, but he was ornery, so my dad had to put him down. I'm just planning it out, bro. I'm a free boy today, bro. I'm about to go to sleep alone tonight without things, right? You know, it's just gonna be me and Jesus, and we're gonna kick it, and it's gonna be great. This is it. This is it. 3 years, 9 months, and 11 days after God told me, after I got down here for deliverance, I'm finally getting completely. It's gonna be all gone. And I went up there and I got baptized, and it didn't work. That was my dream. Leading up to that day is like, dude, because one of the demons, that the one that gave me the dream, said, you can't kill me, whatever, is a lot. Okay, it's perfectionism, it's pornography, which, why I don't have internet in my house. You can't indulge in what you don't have. Absolutely fantastic. It's perfectionism, it's pornography, it's lust, it's all this loud, and what it amounts to is, I cannot be intimate with God because with all the sleep paralysis, which is very sexual in nature, all the sleep paralysis, all the nightmares, all the dreams of me getting raped over and over every night, waking up in the night and feeling hands all over my body, grabbing me all over, for years and years and years. All this is, it's, you know, God gave me clarity, and it has taught me a lot, and revealed that that's literally, as loud as it is and as far reaching as the branches may get, and as, man, all it is prohibiting me from being intimate with God, because I developed, undiagnosed, all right, because what I do is I take my symptoms and I say, this is what my symptoms are. There has to be a name for it, and the name for my symptoms is aphanphasmophobia. I didn't invent the name, it's a friggin' mouthful. I'm not saying I have it. I'm saying that matches my symptoms to the letter. Okay? What that means is you can't be intimate. I, unfortunately, have been in intimate situations with a woman. I wasn't married, you know, sinner. Um, and it didn't work. You understand? I tried and I couldn't. There was something inside. It was all. And I'm like, okay, this was years ago. But, my brain just starts freaking out. My body's freaking out. I feel this tightness. I don't know what the heck's going on. And I'm like, whatever. And then years, the consecutive years after looking back, I'm like, okay, well, God was just protecting me. Maybe, A, because it's wrong. B, he's got a woman for me and wants me special for her, God was protecting me, maybe. And that's not exactly what it was. Okay. I went on a fast 3 months ago. And about 6 months ago, I was also on a fast. Cool things happen when you go on a fast. 6 months ago, I went on a fast and I fell in love with God. Wonderful thing. I didn't think that was possible. It just happened so naturally and such a beautiful thing because I wasn't aiming for it or anything. It just happened so naturally and so beautiful. I fell romantically in love with God, and I didn't think that was. Like an hour before I went on that fast, if somebody would have said, "Hey, are you romantically in love with God?" I would have been like, "What are you, gay? Stop." You know what I mean? Because you're so
right.
The world just pumps all this nonsense into your head about what love is and what it's not, and on this fast, I fell in love with God. I'm like, this is great. It's a whole new area. You take your relationship with God and then a romantic relationship with God, it's like 1,000 times bigger. It's just what are you doing, bro? Get in love with Jesus. You know what I mean? And it's just great. So then I'm like, I understand what worship is now. Like, worship is literally like intimacy with God, and it's just beautiful thing. God's teaching me all this stuff himself. And he's teaching me. So 3 months ago, I went on a fast, and I'm like, I'm fasting, and I'm praying more. I'm in my closet with Kim Walker Smith, and I'm having a time with Jesus, and I'm like, Jesus is the best thing ever. And halfway through the fast, I was going in my prayer closet, having worship time a lot more times in the day. Normally, I'd only go in there once a day and have my time with God for the day. Usually, when I first wake up, but when I was on my fast, I was going morning, noon, and evening. Because it's a fast, you go a little extra on a fast, at least in my mind. So when I was halfway through the fast, I was in there, and I got my worship music playing, and I'm worshiping God, and I can feel it inside me. Like, I don't know what the name for it is really. I mean, intimacy, yes, but it's just feelings like romance and love and worship and adoration and all these things. Like, I feel it, and it's growing for God, and I'm feeling it, and I'm getting closer. And then all of a sudden, my brain started freaking out, just going nuts. My body was freaking out, and I'm like, what is this? And I recognized exactly what it was, because it's exactly what happened to me when I was with those two different women. I'm like, I'm just, I feel like a whore. You know what I mean? Like, in that moment, I'm like, dude, I've been so used and so mutilated in my mind and so sexually tortured, and my brain's so fried that I can't be with the one person that I want to be with God. And so my brain just starts freaking out, and the demon's going nuts, and all this stuff, and panic and fear. Because when you have dreams of getting raped over and over for decades, and sleep paralysis, and porn addiction, and all that stuff, it fries your brain, just completely fries it. And people say it all the time, but specifically in the way that when you are put into an intimate situation, your brain, because of how many rape dreams and sleep paralysis and all this, because of how many of those you have under your belt, your brain says, "Oh, I remember this. This is a terrifying experience. I'm gonna freak out now." Yeah. And your fight or flight response kicks in. Right. Because you're like, I need to. No, this is all bad. It's all bad. You gotta run. And I'm with Jesus. You don't have to be afraid. But your brain doesn't understand. Your brain does not care who Jesus is. Your brain doesn't care who you are. Your brain, it only cares about keeping you alive and safe in the parameters of what it defines safety as. Yeah. And these feelings are not safe. We've been here a million times, and you need to run now. Right. So, bit of a tangent. But what I explain all that for is because leading up to I that night when that happened and I was getting closer to God and it just everything went wrong, I was so broken and I felt so disgusting and I'm just like, dude, there's literally a demon preventing me from being intimate with God. It's so disgusting. It's so gross. It's so degrading and humiliating, and it's just ugh. And so, I mean, ever since that night, I talk to Jesus and I tell him how much I love him and I worship and I do the best I can, but I never let it get too far. And sometimes I do, and I start feeling like that again, and it's so it's tormenting, and it's just it sucks. And so when I went up to get baptized 2 days ago, and I was gonna be free, the thing I wanted the most, I was praying to God the morning of before we left to go up there. I was talking to Jesus. I'm like, man, the second I get back, I'm running to my prayer closet. We're having worship time, and nothing's gonna stop us, and it's gonna be this beautiful, wonderful thing. And the baptism, I was baptized, and it didn't work. They weren't gone. And I got back, and they're just tormenting and screaming at the whole way back home, just manifesting. Listen, if you got demon problems, you know what I'm talking about, and if you don't, then you don't know what I'm talking about. So it is what it is. I don't want to, you know what it is or you don't. Just manifesting, just being evil. And so I got back home. I ran to my prayer closet for other reasons, not necessarily because I wanted to be intimate with God or worship God, because I need help. So I got home and I went there, and it just got bad, all bad, and it's just such a heavy thing, It's so now here I am after this thing, and God told me to go get baptized, and I was going to be delivered, and I'm not. Is God a liar? No. He's not. There are constant truths that you need to fall back on. You need to have a mature head. I'm not tooting my own horn. It's a very base level maturity to think that God is honest and not a liar. It's a very obvious base level maturity to have. I'm not, but I don't understand it. I don't. I'm very broken right now because just broken, and my trust, my faith, my hope, and my love is just in ashes right now. And I still love God 1,000%. There's no. That's the beautiful thing about love is that because normally it curses you because you love. You know, what I mean is when you give your love to somebody, you never get it back, and normally that bites you in the butt. Normally that's people who turn on you, and then you're just like, I love you, but you've hurt me, and I can't be with you, and it just makes a mess. With God, it's like it's just constant safe harbor for your love. Like you pour your love into God, you never get it back, but that's a good thing. But I do love God, but all my trust, I don't know. God's made me promises. It's like this thing happened. It wasn't at all what I thought. Was I wrong? Did I make a mistake? Is anything that I've been believing in this whole time, is any of it real? Am I completely deceived? Is this none of this has been God? It's just been the devil toying with me. Is this I've had self-harm addictions and self-destructive tendencies. Is that all this is? Is just sacrifice everything you have and just torment yourself and self-harm? And is that all this is was it God ever? And I wanted to tell you guys about that. It's the five of us. And I just want because I've preached sermons called "You Gotta Acknowledge Your Emotions." Well, this is me now. I'm not standing behind my bin pulpit, as meager as it is. I'm not good right now. I'm not okay. I'm so angry at God, and I love Him so much, both. And it's such a hard place because one of them shouldn't be there. They don't coexist very well. Anger and love don't. There have been moments these past few days where the only reason I'm still with God and I'm still living for Him is because of lack of options. Because all the other gods are dead and Satan is a douchebag. Yeah. And look, you can. How would you say that about God? You ain't hit real life yet, right. Big fella. I love God, and I'm angry at Him, and that's in Psalms. It says that. I think it's Psalm 46. I don't know. It says, "Lord, where else would we go?" It says that in the Bible. Where else will we turn to? Who else are we gonna? We don't have any other options. You're it. And this event that's happened has been a huge blow, and it has not done anything really to the love I have for God. Because, like I said, once you give something you love, you never get it back. But the love that I have for God has made this suck worse, because it's like God just teaching me all this and pulling me closer, and I love you and you love me, and just love, and then this happens, and you're like, that's not love. You don't understand anything, and God's perfect, and His plans are perfect, and He's the potter, and we're the pottery, and all that, and God's sovereign, and all that goes out the window when something like this happens. You're like, dang, I get you're sovereign, but what the heck is up? You don't owe me an explanation, but boy howdy, would I love to have one. It's a mess sometimes, and I wasn't even gonna do a thing tonight. I was gonna just take a day off, but this is what I feel is raw. You know what I mean? Like, I'd love to stand behind my bin pulpit and tell you that, in God we boast, and God's the greatest, and love God, and Jesus is cool, and it's not like that all the time. God is great all the time. Jesus is cool all the time. Because now, that 2 days ago, that was it. That's what all my faith and hope was in. Like, God's gonna deliver me. I'm gonna be free. And now there's no more deliverances scheduled. There's nothing on the horizon. It's just torment in the same boat I was in before, and You know, I feel like Jeremiah. Jeremiah told God, "You deceived me," and I was deceived. I feel like God deceived me. I know He didn't, but I feel like He did. You know, and everything I see just points to the fact that God led me astray. You know, and it's not wasted on me that a week ago, the sermon I preached, that I don't listen, when I preach a sermon, I wrote it months ago. I don't plan it out. I just, what's the next one? I flip the page and I don't plan it out. And so conveniently, the sermon I preached less than a week before this was called Crushing Grapes, about how what looks like God's rejection isn't His rejection, but He's crushing you so that He can pull something out of you that never would have come out if you were comfortable. You know? And it looks like God's rejection, but it's not. And I don't care right now. You know? God's got a plan. Kick rocks. Do you know what I mean? Kick rocks, bro. God loves you. Kick rocks. Jesus cares about you, bro. Go fly a kite. You know? I know He does. I don't want to hear it right now, because boy howdy, what the heck was all that then? You know, and there's times in life where you do everything perfectly and it fails miserably, worse than anything has ever failed in your life. Even though you did everything right, you obeyed, you did everything exactly how God said, and it didn't. Look at Jesus, bro. Jesus did nothing but heal people and spread peace and hope and love, and he healed people. He preached. He lit the darkness with forest fires of hope, and they killed him. They tortured him to death and killed him. And he told his disciples, Jesus told his disciples, when it was getting to be about that time and Jesus could sense it, he told his disciples, he said, "You will all forsake me, but my God will never forsake me." He said, even though I'm going to be alone, I'm not going to be alone, because my God's going to be with me. And then when Jesus was crucified, one of his final words was, my God, why have you forsaken me?" You know, Jesus did everything perfectly. Literally, He is perfection. He did everything perfectly, and it still failed miserably. And yeah, I get it. Shut up. Shut up. I don't want to hear it. Oh, it was just halfway through it, and it was just a halfway point, and then Jesus made it into something beautiful, and it all worked out at the end, and then it all went up from there, and then it was a low spot, but then it got a high spot, and the story wasn't over yet, and God's not through with you yet, and shut up, bro. And shut up. It hurts sometimes, man. So let it hurt. Jesus was perfect, and even in his crucifixion and excruciating agony, he had dignity. He said, my God, why have you forsaken me?" It's a lot of dignity in that statement, because Jeremiah said, "You deceived me, and I was deceived." Isaiah said, "Truth failed." Times where it just kind of all sucks, and you don't know why. I feel myself slipping. I feel these thoughts coming in. Why did God do that? And just this anger, and I'm trying to not let it win, because I love God, and I don't want to fall back into these mindsets and these routines and these dark cycles that I've been out of by the skin of my teeth. But it's like, what the heck? And it's like, obviously I hear from God well enough, because God told me to go up the mountain before, and I was delivered. Agoraphobia went away. It's pretty obvious. you know. But I don't know. It's just hard sometimes, you know. Yeah, I know, right? Don't be too cheery. But life's not cheery, bro. Read your Bible. That's what so many churches miss. They want to paint smiles on everybody's faces, and you got to be happy. This is God's house. We can't be a bad. We have to be the light of the world. You know. You know, Jesus said to be the salt of the earth. If you put salt in a wound, it burns. That's not a good thing. You know, I don't know what the heck I mean by that, but what I mean is, what I'm trying to say is, read the Bible. It's full of darkness. It's God is the light, and everything else sucks. The world sucks. Life sucks. The job sucks. School sucks. It's all hard. It's all a challenge. It's all a mountain to get over. It's all pain and darkness and agony. And God is the light. He's the only good peace light. You're not gonna find it anywhere else. That's what the Bible is. I mean, people won't. You know, they're too afraid to you know, oh, we can't talk about the hardships in life because we don't want people to think that God's not good. You know, God's good. He provides blessings. And read Psalms, bro. I remembered my God and was troubled. That's what Asaph said. I remembered my God and was troubled. Asaph was troubled after he remembered God. You know, I've talked about this. This is, you know, you get kicked in the teeth and like this, and I don't know. What's the answer? The answer is, you ready to throw up in your mouth? The answer is, it's going to work out eventually. Yeah, I know. It's disgusting. I know that it sounds like a gross, what a cliche, cheesy thing. It's going to work out. Just do the best you can, you know? Just do the best you can. Just talk to God constant, no matter what you feel. God, I'm pissed at you right now. You can't say that to God. I have. And he fixed it because I was honest. Because I didn't try to hide anything. Yes, I fight and I try to give God honor and reverence and respect. And sometimes I'm so broken and beat up and destroyed that God, I'm pissed right now. And it's kind of at you, sir. I should have, you know, in a perfect world, I'd say, Lord, I am displeased, Your Majesty, quite displeased. My soul is discomfited within me. And I find that thine self to be the lone cause. Pray thee, sir, help. I'd love to say that, but my brain can't fathom how to formulate that. Be honest with God. Talk to him the whole time. Sometimes you don't know what to say, then don't say anything. When you do know what to say, then say it. No matter how nice or rude it might sound, you need to be honest with God. God can't help you. God can't fix it if you're not honest. I know that from experience. You know? But, that's about it, fellas. That's all the energy I got. I hope this helps. I don't know what it helped. You know? Like I said, I wish I could give messages every week full of light and hope, but you're allowed to hope in the dark. And this is what that looks like. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you're tired. You know, who knows? In a week, in a month, I might be, what's up, fellas? In God we boast. Jesus fixed it, and everything's all better, and I completely understand it now. And I don't right now. I don't understand it. But just keep doing the best that we can. That's the funny thing about that verse that I quote all the time, in God we boast. That's Psalm 44. The verse says, in God we boast all the day long and praise thy name forever, Selah. Next verse. So, I don't remember word for word what it says, but it says, but you have not gone forth with our armies. You abandoned us and you left us in a den of dragons. You've forsaken us. You know, it's what it is. But that's about it.